Hello, hello. Today's lesson should be lesson number 3. I want to talk today about perceived effort. Okay, so lesson number 1, if you remember, was the importance of the emotional state or state of consciousness when doing muscle testing, and that the thing most people fail in is checking the ego at the door, right? And the 4 parts to tapping into the ecstatic state are selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, and richness. And the first step, selflessness, if you get rid of your ego, so it's not about you, right? Then it's okay if you're wrong. And if you're okay with being wrong, you're much more likely to be right. In fact, one other thing you'll notice is that after you start doing a lot of work for people, you can go down these crazy rabbit trails, and at the end there's pure gold. But if you weren't okay with being wrong, you would have started off on that rabbit trail, and you'd be like, oh, it's wrong, I'm making a mistake, whatever. Often when I've done that, you start off on that rabbit trail, and initially I'm like, I don't think this is right, but it's okay if it's wrong. Let's see what happens. And you go down and you're like, wow, that was totally accurate and freaky effective. So selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, and then the richness comes. The second video we talked a bit about different techniques to try. You can try with your tongue wiggling back and forth inside your mouth, or with a sway test where you stand and you feel yourself going forward or backward based on if you say something is true or something is false, right? I talked a bit about the technique I use of almost pretending I'm pumping air into my lungs, right? And I'll think or say a true statement, perceive that there's ease of flow, or a false statement. I can still do it, but I'll notice there's like a little hiccup, right? And so one thing to remember is you're gonna try a bunch of stuff, and then you'll find one like, oh, this one works for me. I can actually tell that, right? So today we're gonna talk about perceived effort, right? So there's a lot of different techniques that you can use that require a little bit more resistance, like this is called the ring finger. So in other words, holding certain fingers together to make a ring, and then seeing if you can pull them apart or not, right? And you know, I knew a chiropractor who used this technique, like no, actually this is a yes because you're strong versus no, weak, right? And so one of the things to understand is all these different techniques, even when you're doing it with a friend and you're holding your arm out and they're pressing down with 2 pounds of pressure for 2 seconds, right? The consistency of effort is the key, right? And you want to, you can't put a lot of effort into it. You have to use the minimum amount of effort to get the results, okay? I used to use a muscle testing stick. I'll probably show you guys that. So it was a stick with a bungee cord in the middle, and I would hold my arms straight out and I would pull it apart. And so it has handles here and then a bungee cord inside of a plastic tube. And I could see different effort, right? Now I could pull a stick really far apart, but put a lot of effort into it, but you can't do that over and over and over, you'll get tired. So I would have to use the least amount of effort possible to still get to move and see different changes, but an effort that I could use over and over and over again. Same effort for 60 minutes, right? So when I was using a stick, I would realize, oh, I can get it this far with these set of muscles. If I want to get further, I have to engage a whole another set of muscles to get it, right? And for me, that's what I notice. I'm like, ooh, I feel it here at this effort, and additionally different places at a different effort, right? So whatever technique you use, what you're looking for is you're just paying super close attention to any change of physiology, right? When I changed from doing this technique with a stick to the breathing, what had happened is this technique with the stick, doing it for 5 hours a day, was really wearing out my shoulders, okay? And I realized I needed to find a different technique to use. And so while I was using this technique, because I knew it was true or false, I started paying very close attention to any other change in physiology I could tell, right? And what I noticed was, wait a second, when I make an effort to pull a stick apart and I breathe in, all of a sudden I'm like, wait, there's a difference breathing in when something's true or false. When it's true, I don't feel a restriction. When it's false, I'm like, wait a second, I think I see something, right? And initially it was faint, right? I was like, okay, wait, yep, okay, I can. When I zeroed in on it, the more I was perceptive of it, the more I zeroed in on it, the louder it got. And I graduated from using a stick to I'd use like a squishy ball, so I could squeeze, right? And now I don't use a squishy ball, and I make the most minimum effort and the tiniest little breath in and out, because I've gotten more perceptive at hearing it, right? So again, when you start off, you're going to have to use something that's, right now I do muscle testing very slightly for people who are in another country, okay? You're going to have to start off making a larger effort to something that sends a lot larger signal to you. For example, putting candy under your tongue versus putting almonds under your tongue, right? That's a more bold effort and a larger signal so you can hear it, right? And once you get good at hearing that, you can start changing things and hearing things that are where the volume isn't turned up so much energetically. So hope that helps. I look forward to training a lot of people doing this. We're going to keep putting content in here. So stay tuned. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.